I can't believe this is happening.
Keep walking, Jasmine.
Mom.
Please, not here.
Jasmine, just keep going.
Dad, you promised me this wouldn't happen. Then why am I wearing a wedding dress?
We'll talk after the ceremony.
That's what you've been saying for weeks.
Jasmine,
Yes,
you sound upset.
I am.
I'm sorry.
Why are you apologizing?
Because I know you didn't choose this.
How much do you know?
Enough to know you're angry.
You don't even know me.
Jasmine, are you ready?
No,
Jasmine.
I do.
Marcus, do you take Jasmine Carter to be your wife? I do.
What have I done?
Maybe we should both find out.
Jasmine walked down the aisle wearing a beautiful wedding gown. But she was fighting back tears. Because the man waiting for her at the altar wasn't the man she had chosen and was a blind man. She had never dated him. She had never kissed him. She had barely spoken to him. Yet somehow, her parents had decided that he would become her husband. His name was Marcus. He was 31, wealthy, respected, and blind. As Jasmine slowly approached him, hundreds of guests watched in silence. Jasmine realized this wasn't simply an arranged marriage. Her parents were hiding something. Something connected to Marcus's family. But what Jasmine didn't know was that Marcus had secrets of his own. And the truth about why their families had forced them together would eventually make Jasmine question everything she believed about her parents. Before we go deeper into the story, please let us know in the comment where you are watching from and don't forget to like and subscribe. 3 weeks before the wedding, Jasmine was sitting in her parents' luxurious Atlanta living room when she noticed something unusual. Her father, Robert Carter, had barely spoken. Her mother, Denise, kept looking at him before speaking, as if she was waiting for permission. Jasmine immediately knew something was wrong. She had grown up knowing her father's expressions. Whenever business was difficult, he became quiet. Whenever he was angry, he became extremely calm. But that night was different. He looked afraid. Eventually, Robert told Jasmine that the family had found someone they believed would be perfect for her. Jasmine initially thought he was joking. She was 26, successful, independent, and had never asked her parents to find her a husband. But Robert was serious. The man's name was Marcus Williams. He was 31. He came from a wealthy Atlanta family. He was educated, respectful, financially secure, and well known in business circles. There was only one problem Jasmine couldn't understand. She had never met him. She had never dated him. She had never even spoken to him. Her parents expected her to meet him and seriously consider marriage. Jasmine immediately refused. But Robert didn't argue the way she expected. Instead, he became more nervous. That frightened Jasmine even more. She demanded to know why they were so determined to arrange this marriage. Her parents avoided the question. Eventually, Denise revealed that Marcus was blind. Jasmine was surprised. But what bothered her wasn't Marcus's blindness. What bothered her was the way her parents were behaving. They were acting as though this marriage was necessary. Not romantic. Not optional. Necessary. Jasmine accused them of hiding something. Robert denied it. But his reaction told her otherwise. Before she left that night, Robert asked her to meet Marcus just once. Jasmine reluctantly agreed. The next evening, Jasmine met Marcus at an upscale Atlanta restaurant. She arrived expecting an awkward conversation. Instead, Marcus surprised her. He was calm. Confident. Polite. He didn't try to impress her with his money. He didn't ask her to marry him. He didn't even pretend the situation was normal. Marcus immediately understood that Jasmine hadn't chosen the meeting. He knew her parents were pushing her toward the marriage. And he admitted that his own family had encouraged him to consider it. That made Jasmine curious. For the first time, she realized she wasn't the only person being pushed into this situation. Marcus told her something else. His father had once been involved in business with Robert Carter. Jasmine had never heard that before. Her father had never mentioned Marcus's family. Marcus explained that his father had always believed Robert had betrayed him. According to Marcus's family, Robert had played a major role in the collapse of his father's business. Jasmine refused to believe it. She had spent her entire life believing her father was an honorable businessman. Marcus didn't argue. Instead, he told her that maybe she should ask Robert what really happened. That conversation left Jasmine deeply unsettled. She had gone into the restaurant expecting to meet a stranger. Instead, she discovered that the stranger knew something about her family that she didn't. And suddenly, the arranged marriage looked less like a family decision, and more like a carefully planned attempt to bring two families together. Despite everything Jasmine had learned, the pressure continued. Her parents insisted that Marcus was a good man. They insisted that she would be safe with him. And they continued refusing to explain why the marriage mattered so much. Eventually, Jasmine found herself standing inside one of Atlanta's most luxurious hotel ballrooms. Hundreds of guests filled the room. The chandeliers glittered above her. Flowers covered the altar. Music played softly. And at the end of the aisle stood Marcus. His black tuxedo was perfectly tailored. His white cane rested beside him. His eyes were naturally open but unfocused. Jasmine walked toward him with tears in her eyes. She kept looking at her parents. Her mother wouldn't meet her gaze. Her father looked terrified. Jasmine suddenly understood that whatever was happening was bigger than her. She wanted to walk away. Every part of her wanted to stop the ceremony. But she remembered her father's fear. She remembered the mysterious connection between their families. And she remembered Marcus telling her that he didn't want a wife who had been forced to marry him. When the minister finally asked Jasmine if she accepted Marcus as her husband, she hesitated. The entire room waited. Jasmine looked toward her father. Then her mother. Then Marcus. And despite everything inside her telling her to run, she said yes. The ceremony continued. After the wedding, Jasmine moved into Marcus's enormous Atlanta mansion. She expected luxury. She expected awkwardness. She expected Marcus to behave like a stranger. What she didn't expect was how independent he was. Marcus knew every hallway in the house. He moved confidently from room to room using his white cane. He prepared his own meals. He managed his business. He handled his schedule. He rarely asked anyone for help. Jasmine slowly realized that Marcus's blindness had never stopped him from building an independent life. She also noticed something else. Marcus treated her with respect. He never demanded affection. He never pressured her to pretend that she loved him. And when Jasmine made it clear that she was uncomfortable with the marriage, he gave her space. That confused her. She had expected him to be controlling. Instead, he was patient. One evening, Jasmine asked Marcus why he had agreed to marry her. His answer left her unsettled. He hadn't agreed because he believed they were in love. He had agreed because he wanted answers. Answers about Robert Carter. Answers about his father's business. Answers about a past that had shaped his entire family. Jasmine realized that Marcus had entered the marriage looking for the same thing she was now searching for. The truth. Marcus's mother, Evelyn Williams, soon became another source of tension. Evelyn was a sophisticated 57-year-old woman who carried herself with confidence. But Jasmine noticed something strange whenever the past was mentioned. Evelyn became defensive. One morning, Evelyn confronted Jasmine in the mansion hallway. She reminded Jasmine that she was now Marcus's wife. She warned her not to interfere with family matters. Jasmine immediately recognized the warning for what it was. A threat disguised as advice. Instead of backing down, Jasmine began asking more questions. Why had her father never mentioned Marcus's family? Why had Marcus's father blamed Robert? Why were both families so determined to make this marriage happen? And why did Evelyn seem afraid of what Jasmine might discover? The more Jasmine asked, the more uncomfortable Evelyn became. Eventually, Evelyn warned her that some questions came with consequences. That warning only increased Jasmine's curiosity. One afternoon, Jasmine watched Marcus walk through the mansion by himself. She was amazed at how easily he navigated the enormous house. She asked him how he had learned to move around so confidently. Marcus explained that he had been blind for years. His blindness came after an accident connected to his father's company. Jasmine immediately became interested. She wanted to know what happened. Marcus became quiet. He told her that if she wanted the complete story, she should ask her father. That night, Jasmine couldn't sleep. She eventually entered Marcus's study. She wasn't looking for trouble. She simply wanted answers. Inside the study, she noticed a locked drawer. A key was lying nearby. She opened it. Inside was an old photograph. The photograph showed two businessmen standing together. One was Robert Carter. The other was Marcus's father. Jasmine stared at the photograph in disbelief. Then she noticed an envelope. Her own name was written across it. Her hands began to shake. She opened the envelope. Inside was a message suggesting that certain debts were still waiting to be paid. Jasmine barely had time to process what she had read before Marcus entered the room. He immediately knew something was wrong. Jasmine showed him the photograph. Marcus became silent. For years, he had been told one version of the story. Now another piece of evidence had appeared. And neither of them knew who was telling the truth. Jasmine confronted Robert. She placed the photograph in front of him. The moment he saw it, his expression changed. He finally admitted that he had known Marcus's father. They had once been business partners. But Robert denied betraying him. He explained that Marcus's father had made several decisions that placed the company in serious financial trouble. Robert had tried to save the business. Instead, Marcus's father blamed him for the company's collapse. The accusation destroyed Robert's reputation. But Robert had never publicly defended himself. Jasmine couldn't understand why. Then Robert finally admitted the real reason. Marcus's father had already been struggling emotionally. Robert believed exposing the truth would have made things worse. So he remained silent. Jasmine was furious. She told her father that by keeping quiet, he had allowed Marcus to grow up believing a lie. Robert admitted that he regretted it. But before he could explain further, Marcus arrived. He had heard enough. Marcus finally confronted Robert. For years, he had believed that Robert was responsible for his family's suffering. Now Robert was telling him the opposite. Marcus demanded proof. And finally, he revealed something he had been carrying for years. A recording left behind by his father. Marcus played the recording. The voice of his late father filled the room. The message was simple. Robert Carter had not betrayed him. He had blamed Robert because he couldn't accept his own mistakes. The company had collapsed because of decisions he had made. Robert had actually tried to save it. Marcus stood completely still. Everything he had believed about his childhood was beginning to fall apart. The anger he had carried toward Robert for years suddenly had nowhere to go. Robert couldn't hold back his tears. He explained that he had tried to help Marcus's father. He had failed. And when Marcus's father blamed him, Robert allowed the accusation to remain because he believed silence would protect the family. Instead, that silence had lasted for years. Jasmine finally understood why her parents had pushed her toward Marcus. They weren't simply trying to arrange a marriage. They believed bringing Jasmine and Marcus together could somehow heal the damage between the two families. But there was still one question. Why had Evelyn allowed Marcus to believe the wrong story for so many years? The answer was about to come from Evelyn herself. Evelyn entered the house and immediately noticed the tension. Marcus confronted her. He asked whether she had known about his father's recording. At first, Evelyn denied it. But Marcus refused to accept another lie. Eventually, Evelyn broke down. She admitted that she had known the truth. She also admitted that she had been responsible for moving money from the company years earlier. She claimed she had done it because she believed she could save the family from financial collapse. But her plan failed. And instead of admitting what she had done, she allowed Robert to carry the blame. Marcus was devastated. The man he had hated wasn't responsible. His own family had hidden the truth. For years, Marcus had lived with anger based on a lie. He had allowed that lie to shape his relationships, his choices, and even his feelings toward Jasmine. Now everything had changed. Evelyn apologized. But Marcus understood that an apology couldn't return the years he had lost. He finally realized that the person he had been taught to blame had actually been trying to protect his family. And Jasmine realized something else. She had entered the marriage believing Marcus was part of the secret. But he had been trapped inside it too. That night, Jasmine stood alone beside the mansion window. She thought about everything that had happened. Her parents had chosen her husband. Marcus had entered the marriage carrying his own family's secrets. Evelyn had hidden the truth. Robert had remained silent. And Jasmine had spent weeks believing that she had lost control of her own life. She finally decided she needed to leave. When Marcus found her, she told him she was going. Marcus didn't stop her. That surprised her. He simply accepted her decision. Jasmine had expected anger. Instead, Marcus told her that she deserved the freedom to choose her own future. Those words affected her deeply. Because they were the exact opposite of what she had experienced from everyone else. Her parents had chosen for her. Her family had chosen for her. Circumstances had chosen for her. But Marcus was giving the decision back to her. Jasmine left. And for the first time in months, she was completely free to decide what she wanted. 2 years passed. Jasmine built a new life. She focused on her career. She became more confident. She stopped allowing other people to make decisions for her. Marcus also changed. He created a foundation dedicated to helping people with visual disabilities become more independent. He stopped allowing his family's past to control his future. Then, one afternoon, Jasmine walked into an Atlanta cafe. And she saw Marcus. He was sitting alone at a table. For a moment, she considered leaving. Instead, she walked over. Marcus recognized her immediately by her voice. They began talking. There was no family pressure. No arranged marriage. No secrets. No expectations. Just two people who had survived something complicated. Jasmine asked Marcus what would have happened if they had met under different circumstances. Marcus admitted that he would have asked her out. That made Jasmine smile. She realized that despite the terrible way their relationship had started, there had always been something genuine between them. They simply had never been given the opportunity to discover it naturally. Jasmine told Marcus that she wanted a real beginning. One that belonged to them. Marcus agreed. Their first real date was at the Atlanta Botanical Garden. Jasmine walked beside Marcus as the afternoon sunlight moved through the trees. For the first time, they weren't husband and wife because their families had arranged it. They weren't two strangers trapped inside an agreement. They were simply Jasmine and Marcus. Jasmine described the flowers surrounding them. Marcus listened carefully. He remembered that Jasmine had worn pink on the day they first met. She was surprised that he remembered. He told her that he remembered more than people assumed. Jasmine took his hand. She admitted that she had once been terrified of him. Now she understood that he had been trapped by the same circumstances. Marcus admitted that he had also judged her unfairly. They both realized that their families had created a relationship neither of them had chosen. But now they had the opportunity to create one themselves. As the sun began to set, Marcus stopped walking. Jasmine noticed. He reached into his jacket. She immediately understood what was happening. But Marcus didn't simply ask her to marry him. He asked her something far more important. He asked whether she would choose him. Not because their parents wanted it. Not because their families needed forgiveness. Not because of money. Not because of the past. Simply because she wanted him. Jasmine's eyes filled with tears. This time, there was no fear. No pressure. No family watching her for an answer. There was only Marcus. And there was only her choice. She said yes.